On today's show, we wind the clock back to 2016 and head to the Sydney Motorsport Park Figure 8 circuit, where we look back on the opening round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series. And we stay in 2016 and head to Calder Park Raceway in Melbourne, where we look back on all the Group 1 action from the Andorra Australian Nationals. This is Speedweek.
Drifting is back under lights in Sydney. This sideways smoke show is a real crowd pleaser, appealing to a younger audience who loves the JDM meets Carpe Diem vibe. Slick cars, slick haircuts, and zero mechanical sympathy. That's what the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars is all about. Biggest showman of them all, well, he's back to defend his 2015 crown. Scott Schemmer used his SR20 power plant and relentless consistency to become the champ. And tonight, title defense starts at the venue where he was crowned at the end of last year, Sydney Motorsport Park.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the very first round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series. I'm Emma Francesco, and it is great to be here tonight at the iconic Sydney Motorsport Park, the Figure 8 track. And of course, there's always plenty of action when these guys go sideways. We've got a full field of drivers, intense battles, but only one trophy at the very end of the night. So sit back, relax, and enjoy. We're under the stars, and we're kicking off 2016. Well, we've got plenty of faces, some old, some new, but let's check out some of our key contenders.
Probably wasn't the way we wanted to close out the season last year, but to get a close second behind the Blaze unit team, they're a pretty formidable team. They drive pretty hard. They've been out here midweek doing some practice, so again, they're going to be a hard team to beat this weekend, but definitely looking to go one step further this year based on consistency last year. We're right up there all year, so hopefully we can go one step better.
Blaze Unit's done it 2 years in a row now. We want to make it 3 and keep our top spot like we have in the last 2 years. We just got back from New Zealand, so it's been full on the last couple of weeks getting the cars ready. But we're here tonight, we're here to do a job, and we're ready for war.
Expectations this year, I wouldn't mind another championship, but the field's very fierce and it's never going to be easy. It takes a lot to string a whole championship together, and but definitely want to compete hard and just put on a show for the crowd really.
Of course, no major event like this would be possible without its sponsors.
We recently became involved with the series, looking to get into that ground roots style of motorsport. So drifting, I think, is an up-and-coming motorsport that's, is a great part to be involved in. So signing on with the Hi-Tec series has been a real beneficial thing for our company. It's the kind of people we want to surround ourselves with and ensure. So it's been fantastic so far. A series like this ties us directly to the type of people that we want involved with our company, and we're really focused on the people that really love their cars, that are into their motorsport, really passionate about it. They're the type of people that we want to have on board with us and have insurance for. So this sort of series really goes hand in hand with that sort of drive for us.
Well, we're not far from getting into the battles here. Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, round number 1. We are under lights here at the Figure 8. Dave Carter joining me throughout the action tonight, but we're just going to check out one or two passes from qualifying, the three guys towards the front, and it's the number one who's going to try and kick off his campaign and start qualifying, Dave, in the number 3 spot.
Yeah, Scott Shembry on screen rounding out the top 3 of the qualifiers, someone who is back at the home of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Star Series, back for a new season, obviously comfortable with the track, showing his experience here through those particularly difficult switchbacks in the back section and qualifying 3rd in the judges' pecking order. Worth noting as well though, I mean, this was a crazy qualifying session. We had guys that had been big names in the series before. One comes to mind, Mitch Jeffries, and a couple of other drivers were top qualifiers throughout the night, only knocked off later on as more experienced drivers like Scott Shembry came out.
Yeah, there are a few big names missing in action. Brad Tui, he finished off last season so strong, kicking up the sparks in this amazing little 8.6. Certainly doesn't sound like your everyday 8.6, I might mention, but this was his run en route to finishing second. Wait till he gets down to the bottom clipping point, because I think this is what particularly, Dave, impressed the judges. How close does he get down here?
Yeah, I don't think you can get any close to that clipping point without actually clipping it. Brad Tui, a master of wheel control, and seems to be going really well. After a few engine issues a little bit earlier, he said he's gone to larger exhaust primaries and it's really helped that car out.
All right, well, it was another 8.6 in position number 1, and to talk us through our number 1 qualifying pass night, our head judge, Dan Mackey.
Yeah, thanks Chad, mate. Awesome to be here tonight. It's been an awesome run from Bro. He's really pushed hard in this run. Snappy transition there, digging it in hard and pushing right out to that outer clip where we want him to be. You see he's got lots of throttle and lots of angle. Hits the clips as he transitions back. Snappy again there through that one. And as he comes down through here, there'll be a nice snappy transition, which he's done. Pushes hard and he's early on that throttle, really early on that throttle. Hits the clip and then accelerates up the straight. Another snappy transition there to get the car in and set up well, and then buries the throttle all the way around, hard and fast and right through the end. What a run from Bo, and I think he's pretty excited from it. You know, that just shows that he's listened hard in briefing and he's got it right on the night.
Congratulations, top qualifier for tonight. What a great way to start off the season.
Yeah, thank you so much. I mean, as I said, I've been on a small little break, 6-7 weeks now, so to come back and put it P1 there in qualifying, I'm pretty stoked with that. I mean, I was using a lot of motor, a lot of clutch, so I was quite aggressive out there, but you have to be, you know, with a field of, 30-odd drivers tonight and everyone's pushing pretty hard, so I just went all out. But stoked to be in number 1, and hopefully we can continue that throughout the night. I mean, the battle's a different story, but the car feels fast, the Achilles tyres are working great. Little Toyota 86 has got plenty of speed and plenty of power, so hopefully we can push through to the final.
Well, let the battles begin. 2016, it's a brand new season, the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Top 32 highlights coming your way, and a couple of very regular faces as well. Benny Meir and Glenn Atkins to kick things off, and unfortunately it wasn't really happening for Glenn on that first entry there, Dave.
Yeah, a couple of straighten ups there. Looks to have just fallen off boost, that poor little 13B. I mean, they're great when they're up in the res, but as soon as you get a rotary down low, it's really easy to just grip up and straighten. And unfortunately, that's really handed it to Ben Meir for Glenn Atkins. It's very difficult to recover from a straighten up. Little pieces of aero deposited there from Ben Meir, and he is off and away.
Mitch Sanders and Mike Scotto were up next. Absolutely love the look of Scotto's car in 2016, and that was a mistake, falling off the back of the circuit. Always a good way to find yourself out. And unfortunately, Scotto gone in the first 32. Patterson and Cole.
Yeah, Blake well and truly out in front of Mitchell Cole, who's actually here for his very first event, first time competitively drifting before, so he'll be one to watch later on. Jabbit there, nearly going into the back of what is one of my favourite cars tonight. I mean, that FCRX7, still a rotary under the bonnet, spitting flames, and Jabbit all over the rear end.
But Jabbit going through Aaron Dewar and Scott Porter. Scott Hollywood Porter off the back of a big season last year, where he nearly claimed some big scalps right at the very end. And hopefully this might just be the year for him to break out. But Dewar, this time through, looking very strong.
Greg Merriman close up here, a guy who made his name as an Olympic ice dancer, now dancing in a very different way, showing that coordination through the top sweeper here as he rockets away from Warwick Hill, easily securing a spot in the top 16.
Yeah, Warwick, the brother of Matt, not quite pulling it together in the 32 then, but hopefully he'll be back for round 2. So the top 16, the battle ladders look like this. Bo Yates and Ben Meir, a bit of an all-star cast. Arbolino and Merriman. How will Merriman go against the heavy hitter of Rob Arbolino? Every way you look across the board, they are solid battles. And that is what we're checking out right now. Opening round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. They're rolling on out. The big names are here, including that man, a champion 2 seasons ago, having a bit of a chat to his teammate and now reigning champ as we go trackside. Dewar versus Goff. And Goff's car, as always, looking amazing in 2016. Become a dad in the off-season. How is that going to fare with his driving abilities in 2016? We go right into business.
Definitely a difference in aggression there from early on. Aaron Dewar just really wanting it on that entry, flicking a little bit more on the Scando and brake dipping there, trying to just pull that car up, and obviously faster car behind Joel Goff here, but Joel in the bottom section on it and pinned, and then putting a distance on up the hill. I mean, different sections of this track, these guys are showing clear dominance, but how the judges will rule, and especially considering that both of these cars need to switch it up, it's going to be an interesting battle, Chad.
Well, that was exciting right from the get-go, and Goff has the advantage. So Dewar, after taking out a big scalp in Scott Porter in the top 32, is now down slightly as he takes that lead position.
I'd say that advantage from Goff was right here up onto that straight in his last run, so we'll see how he goes behind Dewar, who's seen faster through the sweeper, and again seems to have a little bit of a gap there, but Joel Goff through the tighter stuff and through that really technical bottom straight seems to have the dominance.
Goff needs to close this up a bit. Oh, struggles for traction down low. It's not going to happen there. That could be the ball game.
Yeah, a bit too aggressive on that switchback there, trying to catch it with all the lock, but with these modified knuckle front ends, you go that far out and these cars are likely to just sit there and bake.
That's exactly what happened. Dewar drives away from the bottom corner. Results coming in.
Here it is. Too much angle there, facing the inside of the field, and a big straighten up and switch back. Unfortunately, what he did so well in the lead, he couldn't replicate in the chase.
So Joel Goff on the trailer early on. Here's Matt Hill and Gavin Edwards, a couple of guys that we saw quite a bit of in 2015. It's Hill out front. We're right on board with Edwards, V8 powered Nissan Skyline.
Pretty funny fact, actually. Matt Hill was competing in Gavin Edwards' R32 all the way down in Adelaide. I mean, these guys are obviously good mates and both very experienced drivers, but absolutely nothing will be held back here. And Matt Hill blazing up out in front. A lot of wheel work there from Gavin, and diving in through the sweeper there. Pretty evenly matched.
Exciting run. They have smoked Sydney Motorsport Park in. We're flying in low fog tonight. It's Hill who gets the advantage, narrowly you would have to say. It was a good chase run from Edwards, busy hands indeed on the onboard replay, but Matt Hill has his nose in front.
Yeah, Matt Hill getting the advantage, but the lead car inherently has an advantage here, not being held up by the car in front, so as the position switch, it is still anybody's game. Really nicely emulated switchback there, happening practically at the same time, and again onto the back straight there. I'd say these cars are closer than when they were switched the other way around, Chad.
It's been a pretty good chase run, handful of handbrake into the top corner. And pretty good proximity through the finish line. Not a bad chase at all from Matt Hill. Was all over that rear quarter panel. Judges' scores are in, and he converts the advantage.
Tough one to split, but Matt Hill in that chase, just that little bit closer everywhere in the track, and a really aggressive chase lead run, that combined to give him the win. Here's an older name for drifting, 2 veterans in the sport actually. Dan Christick in that orange RX-7. He's been around for years and unfortunately had a bit of a straighten up there, possibly used to some of the larger tracks, hasn't been on the peanut in a while. Another rotary powered car that can be difficult to keep up on song, although it is a quad rotor with a turbo the size of your head.
Well, that actually happened to Jabbett earlier as well, when he was up against Mark Williams in the top 32, and Abbott's kind of called off the chase here. It's an ugly top 16 battle between 2 of the best.
Jabbett doesn't seem happy here, heading into the pits and calling the 5-minute rule. Possibly something going wrong mechanically. Oh, and Abbott's actually retired there.
Well, this is huge news. The 2014 champion out in the first round in the top 16. It's not the way he wanted to kick off another campaign. Just like last year, his first round is a bit of a dud, and it's going to be a long hill back from here as we push on. Mitch Jeffrey now and Blake Patterson
early on, very close and aggressive there from Blake Patterson, but Mitch Jeffrey, besides a little bobble on the entry there, seems to have a pretty good line.
Oh.
How's that emulation though? Switch back perfectly and then diving into that front guard there. Blake Patterson wants it.
I thought Patterson was going to go through Jeffrey's door down at the bottom corner, pulled it up just in time. That's the kind of action the judges like to see. That's what they were talking about in the briefing. That was a big chase run indeed. And it's enough to get him the advantage.
What a dive. Patterson had a lot more angle and smoke through that top sweeper there. Jeffrey's going to have a bit of an uphill battle here, but he is very good in the chase.
New livery for Mitch Jeffrey in 2016. Car looks fantastic as we tip in it at the top. Blake Patterson leading strong. Jeffrey's close there, but wasn't quite emulating that same angle.
Yeah, a little bit shallower there, trying to take that lower line and really make up the distance that Blake Patterson had opened. It has allowed him to stick with the rear bumper there, but possibly to the detriment of his line early on. And then Blake Patterson on the smoke show. Well, out on lock. Both drivers pretty evenly matched though. I mean, they did have their strong sections throughout the track. It will be a hard one to call.
And judges want to see them on track again. They call the rerun. You said it'd be close, Dave. The judges agreed. They want to see this one more time. We're going to send them back around, stack them up, but we need a quick break here. The Drift All-Star Series opening round of the championship from Sydney Motorsport Park, and that rerun's happening on the other side of this break. Welcome back to the Figure 8 circuit here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Hi-Tech's Drift All-Stars currently in the top 16. And we've locked in 3 names to the final 8 so far. James Abbott is not one of them. He was taken up by Christic. He'll be joined by Hill and Dewar in the final 8. There's still to lock in a few names, including this battle between Jeffrey and Patterson, which Dave, the judges, called one more time.
Deja vu for those returning from the break. This is our first rerun of the night. Now, it may have seemed like Blake Patterson had that advantage early on, but what the cameras didn't show that he was dropping wheels a little bit here and there. And it looks like he might have actually tagged the dirt a little bit there and through the inside there behind the Achilles sign. A difficult thing to see, and although Mitch Jeffrey may have been a little bit shallower in his earlier runs, it was that evened them up. So it's anybody's game here. Patterson really aggressive in the chase again, seems to be putting out a lot more smoke with a lot more angle, but as a result is that little bit slower than Mitch Jeffrey.
Well, proximity, you couldn't really argue about that on the Achilles radial replay. Patterson gets the advantage once again. The judges like how close he's keeping it, but it's just here where he drops that left front down that they were probably going to take points away. But either way, he's got the advantage. Can he now seal the deal against Mitch Jeffrey, who's doing all the chasing?
I swear there is less and less of that rear bar every time we see that car come past camera, with a fresh tyre mark on there as well. And Mitch Jeffrey aiming to add another one, tucked right in there, but not quite touching. Touching a little bit of the track there, and another wheel drop from Blake Patterson. It's a really difficult thing here on the Figure 8 with those deep track edges. Does not seem afraid of the very real risk of suspension damage.
This could go either way through the flying finish. We saw another run because of the wheel drops from Patterson earlier. Does he convert this time? No. The judges penalise him for moments like that, and it's enough to see Mitch Jeffrey go through. His angle wasn't quite all there, but proximity was definitely good for Mitch Jeffrey. Congratulations on making the top 8. Rob Arbolino now.
What a battle this is going to be. Rob Arbolino probably getting 1 or 2 testing laps in the Hi-Tec Rolls 350Z. Previously driven by Cameron Moe, Rob stepped up, taken over the spanner work of this car, and he is in it after racing that Matux S14 last year. Big power difference into a turbo V8. Chased by a car pretty similar to what Rob was driving last year, Gregory Merriman, in that turbo S14 Silvia, I believe still with the stock SR20 on board, and man, can he drive it.
Merriman qualified in the number 9 spot. And that is why we see 8v9. It's always the closest in terms of scoring. And on the Achilles Radial replay, we see Arbolino getting the nod, at least in terms of the advantage. I think I saw Merriman drop the left front down as well on that transition. So that could have cost him. Either way, it sits now in the hands of Rob Arbolino, who drove the wheels off his car over, not just in Australia at Winton, but in New Zealand as well as part of that transatlantic battle. Oh, big wheel drop this time, and the whole rear bar hanging off for Merriman.
Yeah, a bit of a disadvantage there in the eyes of the judges. As soon as you touch any sort of dirt in drifting, it is off. That is a big deduction there. And as much as he's trying hard to pull away from Rob and doing a pretty good job of it, a fair chunk of those points in that run would have been thrown away. And again, into that outside ditch there. Rob Arbolino taking it safe. He's seen the mistake from behind, and all he has to do is cruise through and collect the points.
Well, you can see that Merriman was absolutely on the limit, and it's obviously not his car, the Hi-Tec 350, so I don't think he wanted to get all that close to it. Arbolino takes the advantage through to a win, and on the Achilles Radial replay, it's not hard to see why. Time for the champ to continue his form. I'm talking about Scott Shemry, Blaze Unit, number 1 man now, and he's got Steve Cerrone doing the chasing.
2 SR20 powered 180SXs are up against each other. One in the hands of veteran Blaze Unit Scott Shemry behind. Steve Cerrone having a bit of trouble chasing him down, but you know what? That is completely excusable. It is a difficult and highly technical track, and he's out there for one of the first times competing, stepping up from Hi-Tec's Drift for Real event where you get to go out there on the South Circuit and have a crack in your own car. Next one's coming up September 2nd, so if you've ever wanted to have a go at drifting, that's the place to do it.
Nicely said, Dave. He got a little bit aggressive, I'd say, down there at the opening entry. So, thinking I'm up against the number 1 man, I better put on a show, and unfortunately diving head first into the rear of Shemry's car. So it's enough to give the Master Chef, as they call him, the advantage.
Maybe a couple more drift for reals in the chase position. But this is perfect practice here as well. Scott Shemry right behind him, looking to give him a hurry up. Oh, really close there. Normally pouring smoke off the rear of that car, but you can see he's out of it.
Was there contact there because the front bar is off Shemry's car, the rear bar hanging off Cerrone's wheel drop as well.
Big wheel drop there, and I've got a feeling that may have knocked the suspension arm in the back as well. And then well and truly outside here as well.
And an ugly finish on board with Scott Shemry, who looked to really lose his rhythm then. Let's just check this out through this part here. I think there was contact. Oh, bang.
Definitely got him. And then Cerrone feeling that hurry-up bump, heading towards the outside of the tracks. And it's an easy mistake to make when you have a 400-something kilowatt SR20 screaming in your ear from behind saying, hurry up.
But Shemry prevails. Here we go. Brad Toohey now. Qualified in the number 2 spot. Mitch Sanders. Love the look of this car. But it's a big chase, this one.
Yeah, fresh build there, from Mitch Sanders with that RB26 powered S15. Seems to still be coming to terms with it. Oh, Brad Toohey has a whole year of competing under his belt in that twin supercharged LS powered 86. Wow, what a noise it makes.
It's a wild unit, and Brad Toohey will surely be heading on through to the top 8. Let's just check this out for Sanders. Again on the Achilles Radial replay. Lost the momentum. Big straighten up, and that was enough to give Toohey a fairly sizable advantage, I'd say.
Yeah, car possibly over-gripped a little bit for Mitch Sanders. I mean, in a car like that that's a little bit peaky on a slow circuit like this, sometimes you need to dial that grip back so you don't get tricked into those straighten ups, but can also be difficult chasing, so let's see what he does out in front of Brad Toohey.
The sounds of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. It was sounding big indeed, and that should be enough. So we check out the Achilles Radial replay to send Toohey on through, and it sure is, Dave.
Yeah, Sanders really taking that shallow line there, while Brad Toohey was much further out towards the end of that, the edge of that sweeper, giving the judges what they want to see. Now this is sure to be a very well-judged battle. Our top qualifier, Bo Yates, up against another veteran of the sport, Ben Meir.
Ben Meir unlucky to qualify all the way down in 16th. Awkward entry. Meir with a bit of a correction. Can't quite stick it to the Achilles radial door. He's chasing him through the transition. Maybe even knocked him a little bit then.
Oh, Bo is the king of that bottom straight. Right out to that outside clip before avoiding the ditch.
And he's driving away with this one. Bo Yates in the 2JZ powered 86 is here to play in 2016. This championship has eluded him for a couple of years, and he wants it badly. Number one qualifier, gets the advantage comfortably this time over Benny Meir. And unfortunately, Ben Meir has drawn the short straw here. Nobody wants to take on Bo Yates in the top 16.
Especially not with how strong his chase game is. Bo is one I get excited about watching in the chase position every time. Let's have a listen. That 2JZ powered 8.6 just makes a song unlike anything else. Up against Ben Meir, what I believe they're V8 powered S14. Very different cars with very different power delivery, and both drivers know how to drive the wheels off them.
Bo driving like a man who knows he's got a pretty handy advantage right now.
Taking again that higher line that we saw from Brad Toohey before. That's what the judges want, as wide on the sweeper as you possibly can get, and it really demonstrates the difference between these two drivers is nailing that judge line.
Monstered the driver's door of Ben Meir through the bottom corner, and Bo Yates is not going to trip in the round of 16. He motors on through.
Bo, you're our top qualifier, now into the top 8. So far, so good for tonight.
Yeah, the car's going really well, so the Achilles radials feel pretty hooked up out there, but Benny Meir and his old man, they do a good job to prepare that car, and it's a shame to meet him in the top 16 because he's the kind of guy you want to see go through to the final. He puts a lot in, so no, but I'm really happy to go through to the top 8.
Well, plenty of big names will be joining Bo Yates in the top 8, especially Rob Arbolino. That will be a monster matchup. Brad Toohey, he's up against Dewar. That is another tough matchup for Dewar tonight. And Scott Shemry to try and continue his form against Matt Hill. Mitch Jeffrey, well, he'll be up against Dan Christic after Jabbett had that retirement. It's a big top 8 indeed. Time for the top 8 to roll out. There is a good crowd here tonight. The opening round of the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars, hotly anticipated opening round as well. We've had to wait a long time into 2016 to see the best in Australian drifting take to Sydney Motorsport Park. And now the best are through to the top 8. Here they are. It's Mitch Jeffrey to lead us off against Dan Christic.
Now look at that RX-7 really dip the nose up in the air. There's a lot of suspension travel in that car. Something that Dan Christic seems to be really struggling with. Mitch Jeffrey, as we've seen typical through his earlier runs, not a whole bunch of smoke because he's using all of the grip of that tyre, really throttle controlling the car, only on it where he needs to be through that bottom section and rocketing away from Dan Christic.
Yeah, Christic was out high and wide down at the bottom corner, so Jeffrey with a strong lead run. This thing of Christic's, the RX-7, is very uncomfortable indeed at the moment. And that was a messy one. Let's just check out the Achilles radial replay. You can see he's in a different track altogether out the back there. Easy advantage, that one for the judges to pick in the favour of Mitch Jeffrey.
Really difficult technical bottom section there, and if you go as wide as Dan Christic did, you end up in a really deep ditch. Watch it as we come back around the cameras. Again, heading wide for those track edges as if he's got blinders on, does not see the big holes that you can find yourself in. While Mitch Jeffrey, cool, calm and collected, right there behind him on the door.
Oh, and a spin this time for Christic. Jeffrey does a really good job pulling that up. That was quick, evasive thinking from Mitch Jeffrey, who will absolutely waltz on through to the top 4 tonight. He had to earn his way to the top 8 with a rerun in the 16, but there'll be no question about who's going through this time. Mitch Jeffrey with a very sensible bit of driving on the brake pedal there, Dave.
Yeah, it would have been a shame to see that nice new JSI Aero get bent with the beautiful blue and yellow livery there. It's a crazy looking car that really does look like it deserves a spot in our finals battles, and that reaction time from Mitch Jeffrey in the passenger seat absolutely proves it.
and Dan Christie could be thanking him when he gets out back in the pit. Here is Scott Shemry. Matt Hill brought his brother to play. Warwick entered the only non-Japanese car here tonight in the BMW. Now it's Matt Hill trying to chase down the champ.
Really calm wheel work there from Matt Hill. Seems to be getting a little bit lost in the smoke cloud of Scott Shemry though. Smacking that angle out there, going down into that wide line. And as the smoke clears, Matt Hill's nowhere to be seen at the bottom of the straight as Shemry enters the sweeper.
Consistency was the tale of 2016 for Scott Shemry. Second in the points in 2014 behind his teammate. He finally got up to the top step last year. And with runs like this, the Blaze unit can expect to see him pulling big points again in 2016. He has the advantage over Matt Hill, who just couldn't quite stick with the door of Scott Shemry.
Little secret method Shemry let me in on is while he's out in the lead there, he just treats it like a qualifying run. Doesn't even look back, doesn't look in the mirror, but he can chase well as well. And that's what we're about to see here, but it's Straighten. Was that even contact there? Did he touch Matty Hill?
Well, Hill's lost it in the smoke as well. Shemry came in like an arrow through the mid part of that corner. Hard to see if there's any evidence because the front bar was missing.
It seems odd because, I mean, Matt Hill seemed to be really well settled into that sweeper and then suddenly a spin and a dart from Shemry behind him.
Oh, this could be a big moment, a controversial moment. Let's check out the Achilles replay on this one. And the judges have scored it towards Hill, so there must have been contact. It's enough to send him around and through to the final four. The champ is out. Could this be a champ for 2016? Either of these two guys could really be going to the podium at the end of the year. Oh, Bo Yates with a big correction and another one. Something's broken, surely.
Yeah, that has to be mechanical. There's no way Bo Yates would make a mistake like that. Even a slight bobble in the corner is pretty rare from him, and he will recover it. In the meantime, Rob Arbolino taking full advantage, getting some more practice runs in what would probably be, his fourth lap of ye old peanut track that he knows and loves out there in the Hi-Tec 350Z, an unfamiliar car that he's spent countless nights working on to get ready, and it looks like there'll be some more spanner time on Bo Yates' car. We'll look at the replay here. I think I've seen something coming out of the bottom of the rear end there, maybe a drive shaft failure.
So they've needed the 5 minutes to quickly change that drive shaft for Bo Yates, and quite sportingly, Rob Arbolino giving him enough time to make that work. And as a result, Yates will be able to come out for the chase run, but it's going to be an uphill battle from here as he sticks that wise front end right in to the side of the Hi-Tec Alls 350.
And that is a close chase. Really good wheel work as well from Bo. Sticking right up with Rob. Actually going further to that outside clip there than Rob did in the lead. Pretty difficult when you're that close.
This is just Bo Yates putting on a show now, having some fun with a driver who he knows and trusts. And Rob Arbolino all the way to the door. We know Arbolino will be more than likely going through, and on the Achilles Radials replay, yes he does. But that was awesome to watch from Bo Yates. And he will have some work to do out in the top 8. This championship, well, can he claw it back from here?
Now this is an interesting one. Two quite different cars, both with V8s under the bonnet and skilled drivers behind the wheel. Brad Toohey up against Aaron Duar.
Duar now gives up a bit of a gap through the top corner. Toohey was out of that clip quite nicely. Been hitting those clips all night long. So go on board with Aaron. Bit of handbrake work down the bottom corner.
Oh, big straighten up there again. We see someone tripped up coming through that last corner onto the bottom straight, using a bit too much lock there in a modified knuckle car, and as you get into it, it just sits there and bakes instead of going where you want it to.
So the big V8 powered 8.6 gets the advantage. Achilles radial replay. This is the moment. Just overcorrected it. And it took too long to get that power down, like you mentioned.
Yeah, possibly failing to come back on song there. Getting that grip up and then trying to pull away just wasn't going to happen in that chase run. But out in front, it's still anybody's game. If I shut my eyes, I could imagine that I was actually at Summernats instead of a drift event. Two V8s, both from the Commodore family, absolutely wailing on the small figure 8 circuit. Looks to be a lot of speed carried by Duar this time round, way out in front of Brad Toohey. Will that be enough to make up for the serious mistakes in the last run, though?
Yeah, nice run that one from our number 10 qualifier. He was down on the advantage and trying to turn it around in the lead run, but no, our number 2 qualifier, Brad Toohey, has got the win and is going on to the final 4.
Brad, how did you go? You must be pretty happy, top 4.
Yeah, happy with the result. Unfortunately, I don't think the car's sounding too good at the moment. Definitely got a little bit hot there. I just ran as hard as I could. Look, Aaron's no joke, so I just knew I had to run super hard. Lucky these Achilles 1, 2, 3s were hooking up great. So,
Well, you're one step closer to that trophy. Good luck.
fingers crossed.
So Bo Yates and Scott Chemery out in the top 8. That leaves us with 4. Jeffrey and Arbolino, Toohey and Hill. Hill having a night to remember. That's how they'll line up. That is your battle ladder here at the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars opening round of the championship. And that final 4 will be coming up on the other side of this. Who's going to lock their spot down in the final battle under lights at Sydney Motorsport Park? Find out on the other side of this. Sydney Motorsport Park waits with bated breath under lights, smoke lingering. Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. It's been putting on a show tonight, and we're set now for the final 4. Helmets going on. Nerves steady. Matt Hill having a fantastic night. Can he continue that on right now? Here is the lineup. He'll have Brad Toohey, who is absolutely on form to begin season 2016. Mitch Jeffries had a difficult run through here so far. Some good evasive driving in his round of 16 against Dan Christic. Sees him up against Rob Arbolino. But it's a battle of the orange and black beasts that'll kick it off. It's Toohey and Hill.
Chasing here with the advantage, although Toohey was our high qualifier earlier on, allowing him that lead run here. Seems to be pretty close behind him. Matt Hill diving in there on that final corner onto the bottom straight. Both going out wide there. Lots of spark from Brad Toohey as he smashes the rear end of that car across the base of South Zone. And Matt Hill nearly making the same mistake we saw him do last year, right up into that sandbank there. Managed to keep it on the black stuff, but forced himself into a straight and a mistake.
Achilles replay right now. Toohey does have the advantage over Matt Hill. Love the handwork. As Matt got very close to that embankment, it can suck you in like a vacuum once you touch it. And now he's got all the work to do on the lead run. Toohey, can he stick that Achilles radials 8.6 to the door? Let's listen in.
A little bit lazy on the entry there from Toohey, but he knows he's got the advantage after seeing himself come across the finish line on his own with no drifter behind him. Matt Hill doing his best out in front and actually opening a little bit of a gap there, but possibly too much angle onto the straight, allowing Brad Toohey to catch up again.
A good battle on the tight and twisty figure 8, lovingly known as the Peanut. Matt Hill throws it around.
Summer nuts!
He's been very entertaining so far tonight. Achilles radial replay. Matt Hill drove the wheels off it, but the confirmation coming through that Brad Toohey has gone through to the final 2. I bet he's pumped. He's down with Emma.
Brad, well done. You have secured yourself a spot in the final.
Yeah, pretty stoked with that. Obviously, Matty Hill's been driving awesome. I'm not sure what issue he had, but through waiting around, my car got a little bit hot too, so just thankful to get through there.
They were working furiously on your car before. How is it feeling now?
Yeah, it's not too bad. We've just got a bit of an underlying issue with overheating, but yeah, happy to go through it nonetheless, yeah.
Good luck, thank you.
Thank you.
So who will meet Brad Toohey in tonight's final battle? It will be one of these two gentlemen. They pull up, ready for battle. And it will be Mitch Jeffrey to lead us away from Rob Arbolino in the Hi-Tec 350, the company car as I like to call it. Let's listen to him scream around the top. Very even, but a great transition from Arbolino, sticking it right to the back of Jeffrey.
It's a really interesting driving style from Jeffrey, and one that really reminds me of some of the Japanese drivers. You see not a lot of smoke off this car. You'll never hear limiter from it, and he's using every bit of that traction with throttle control. But you know what? Rob Arbolino is right there knocking on the back door with a whole pack of smoke pouring off the back of that twin turbocharged V8 350Z.
That was just a pleasure to watch. Achilles radial replay. I'm not surprised that the judges can't separate that because it was near perfection from both of them. No advantage. So it's still very much up in the air as to who is going to go through to the final two. Arbolino now in the Hi-Tec Oils Nissan to lead us off.
Big power difference between the two cars. You can see Jeffrey afraid to let him have a gap to get away with, practically side by side into the first sweeper, and that's carried over to the initiation.
Arbolino is carrying hot form off the back of the Trans-Tasman Challenge, taking on the best from New Zealand and going across there to do it. And now Underlights back in Sydney. He's showing why he is one of the most informed guys in the Hi-Tec Oil Drift All-Stars as he rips around the top. But again, Jeffrey right with him. This is going to be a real difficult call for the judges. Achilles radial replay, the scores will come up. And it's going to be a rerun one more time. I'm not surprised either. The judges would have had an absolute nightmare trying to separate them in the scorecards. And I guess, Dave, that's probably good news for everyone here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, both of these drivers came out of the last series as underdogs that really proved themselves. Rob Arbolino in that Trans-Tasman series went over there and snatched the win from those devilish Kiwis, brought the cup home for Australia, while Mitch Jeffrey had a few mechanical issues, but overall drove pretty solidly. So poor guys had more runs than anyone tonight, a couple of reruns throughout the mix there, and has a real shot of ending up on the podium.
Arbolino qualified in the number 8 spot. Jeffrey up in 4th. One of his best qualifying runs, and this has been a pretty good lead run.
Really put a gap on there, both through the straight and then held it through the sweeper. Rob chased him down a little bit at the entry, but then that gap stayed constant.
Let's check out the Achilles radial replay. Judges are going to give no advantage once again. So we're struggling to separate these two. It's been a nervous night for Mitch Jeffrey. He's had a couple of reruns now, having to earn his spot in the final two if he can get there. Arbolino to lead us off. Will this be the moment where we separate them and send one of them through to face off with Brad Toohey?
Interesting change of strategy there from Jeffrey. He let Rob get that little bit further away this time and then rocketed up the straight and dived in there. I'd say that's even more of an aggressive entry from Mitch Jeffrey.
Sticking with him.
Out to that outside clip, much wider than Rob Arbolino, struggling to keep up with the more powerful car, but again, diving in on the sweeper.
Arbolino using the power of the 350 to his advantage, flames out the back, and that was awesome.
What a wild car that Hi-Tec Oils 350Z really is.
But again, Dave, so difficult to separate them, and on the Achilles radial replay, the judges' scorecard will give it to Mitch Jeffrey, so he's going through his first final in the Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars. Congratulations, Mitch Jeffrey.
Mitch, that was our third rerun of the night. The battles are just getting tougher and tougher.
Oh, they are. Rob's an awesome driver. He's going well in that 350. It's the first night he's driven it, so he's going good, but the S15, S13's going well, so awesome. Thanks.
Great run, great rerun. We'll see you at the end.
Thank you.
Well, Mitch Jeffrey's taking everything in his stride, a couple of reruns, but finally he has made it through to that final tonight alongside Brad Toohey. Could Brad Toohey be the wild card to step up in season 2016? Nearly time for those final runs. The crowd has stuck through it tonight. Under lights here at Sydney Motorsport Park. Opening round of the championship. Third place battle heading out there right now. And Emma is caught up with the reigning champ.
Who do you reckon is going to take the third position, Scott?
Oh, I'm pretty biased. I'm going to say Rob. He's my best mate, and Matty beat me tonight, so yeah, definitely Rob.
He looked pretty confident.
Yeah, he's good. He's only driven the car a couple of times. It's his first year in it, and we just changed all the setup in it, so he'll get comfortable this year and he'll be one to look out for.
Thanks, Scott.
Scott Shemry heads off to find a good vantage point. Like you said, his best mate is on the track and he'll do the chasing alongside Matt Hill. Hill tips it in, aggressive tip in as well to that first point, but just about finds the dirt again. He's been running a little bit wide down there tonight. Good transitions. Arbolino sticking with him, Dave.
Yeah, facing your fears is what it's all about. It seems like Matty Hill has overcome his fear of that track edge. Absolutely blazing onto that front straight there with Rob close behind, but there it is. I feel like I jinxed him there. We're talking about those track edges, and again, Matt Hill has found one, handing an easy advantage to Rob Arbolino in an otherwise hard to separate battle.
Man, he is millimetres away from another moment like last season. On the Achilles Radials replay, we'll see just how close it was. Man, that bank has caught out a few big names in the past. He got away with one on both of the runs around the top corner, and it was enough to give Arbolino the slight advantage. Can he convert now on the lead run? Fighting for third place. Champagne to be sprayed here.
Both drivers now very cautious and away from that track edge now, which may be safer, but it's also a big no-no in the judges' eyes. That outside clip is one of the key zones, as well as this outside clip, which they've again slightly missed. Matt Hill possibly going in too close there and rubbing panels with Rob Arbolino, but as long as the line is not changed, that is A-OK with the judges.
That was the moment of the night for me. That was unreal. We've not seen anyone get that close at that part of the racetrack. Exciting chase run from Matt Hill, who knew he had to lay it down, and it's not enough though. It'll be Arbolino, but goodness me, that was close. That moment there takes bravery on behalf of Matt Hill, but it's Arbolino who will take the final spot on the podium. High fives all round from the Hi-Tec Oils crew, and he has made it work tonight, taking control of the company car. Now it comes down to this. Yes, a skid on the entry.
What a legend. I mean, I'm just so ecstatic to see both of these cars in the final. Both drivers, ultra nice guys, always walking around the pits, and both of them plagued with mechanical issues last year. I remember seeing Mitch Jeffrey had this weird issue with boost control in the ECU where it just wouldn't rev above about $3.5–4 grand. Still managed to make it work. Brad Toohey having all of these issues with cooking motors and throwing supercharger belts, but here they are now, both of them in the first round, about to put themselves head and shoulders above the rest of the field, but which one will get the advantage going into round two?
Toohey advancing from our number 2 qualifying spot. Jeffrey from P4. And it's the horsepower of the big 86 that's opening up a slight lead and maybe a slight advantage despite Jeffrey's best efforts. Maybe give that one to Toohey.
Really separated across the line there, Chad. Mitch was with him through that early part of the run. He was well and truly there, but as we come onto the straight here, that's where the difference really is made. These cars with a lot of grip in the back with that high horsepower and instant power of the supercharged LS V8 motor in Toohey's car just allowed him to rocket up the hill.
Both JSI Aero kits looking superb under lights here tonight. And those Achilles Radials tyres are working overtime for Brad Toohey as he takes an advantage through to this moment. Can Mitch Jeffrey calm himself? Can he pull it together?
The orders are reversed, and looking at the digital dash there, I saw a number up around 120, 130 degrees Celsius. I hope that was oil and not water, but I know both of these guys are well and truly aware of the mechanical danger. They just go for it, and Brad Toohey...
I thought he was going to lose it then. It was big angle.
A lot of lock in that car, but using that lock has actually seen him drop back in the gap there, losing the speed required to try and bring that car back in from an extreme angle.
That was as close as you can get to being completely out of control, but he closes up the proximity through the finish, and it might be enough to hang on to the advantage that he brought into that last run, but that will be close. Jeffrey, who has survived rerun after rerun tonight, reveling in the final 2, and on the Achilles Radial replay, fair to say that either of these guys deserve the win tonight, especially how they've driven in the final. but it will go to Brad Toohey. He starts season 2016 in the perfect way, and you have to say he deserves it given what he's been through in the last couple of years. Congratulations, Brad. He's down with Emma now.
Well done, Brad Toohey. You are the winner for tonight. You sit at the top of the leaderboard after round one. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. It's been a long time coming. I don't think I've led a championship since 2013, I think. So, yeah, pretty stoked with that. Fought some gremlins through the night. Look, you can't take it away from everyone. Like, everyone was driving awesome tonight, so I'm just stoked to be here, to be honest there.
But the team did a great job. You had quite a few problems, but they got the car right back out there for you.
Yeah, the boys from Prestige Tyre and Auto, my partner Bianca, like everyone just banded together. That's what's so good about drift. Everyone just gets in and helps everyone out. Yeah, without them, we wouldn't be here.
And our runner-up, Mitch Jeffries, congratulations, second place. You must be pretty happy with that.
Oh, I'm so happy. First time out in this car, and it's just been so good. I have so many good battles, and I just can't wait to come back for more. Thanks to Hi-Tec and Achilles, and everyone who's just supported me, all my sponsors, Good Ride, Synap Racing, JSI Aero, they just helped me along so much. I can't wait to do the next rounds.
The battles were very tight tonight. You definitely made it hard for the judges.
Yeah, I had a few reruns there, so I did. Sorry, boys, but hopefully it's like that every time, eh?
And so after the first round, the championship looks like this. A newly revised point system sees Brad Toohey comfortably on top, 22 points clear of Mitch Jeffrey. Bo Yates down there in 5th, the defending champ 6th, but you've got to go a long way to find the likes of James Abbott. So it's going to be a big season in 2016 for these guys.
Bruno from Achilles is going to present the 3rd place trophy. Congratulations to Rob Arbolino. Presenting the 2nd place trophy, we've got Craig from Famous Insurance. Congratulations to Mitch Jeffries. And presenting the 1st place trophy, of course, we've got George here from Hi-Tec. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Brad Toohey.
So the trophy's handed out here tonight. Dave, that was a great way to kick off 2016.
Yeah, interesting to see some of the top names from last year right down the ladder, with a couple of guys who deserved to be up there last year now up top. And as we finish the show, they finish off the tyres, pop the bottles. What an event it's been, Chad.
Well, thank you for your help, Dave, and thank you to Emma down there in the pits doing a great job as well. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out the Facebook page for Hi-Tec Drift All-Stars.
Coming up after the break, we wind back to the 2016 edition of the Andrew Australian Nationals from Calder Park Raceway.